So hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I wanted to talk about studying and the basic techniques that can be used for us to improve our studying to help us gain better marks on our exams and help us pass any exam that we want to take in future. Having been to pharmacy, to medical school and also having done a master's in machine learning and artificial intelligence, I basically have quite a good amount of experience when it comes to exams and exam taking. I'm also currently now studying Japanese. I'm doing a Japanese distance learning course with Koto Academy, and throughout my studying of both pharmacy, medicine and now languages and also coding, I learned various techniques that help me both to memorize, understand and also remember what I am studying with regards to that particular subject. Most of us go to school from the age of around 0 to 18. We are in a classroom where the teacher uses passive learning techniques. The teacher either talks to us in the classroom, uses PowerPoints, reads the book or tells us to read the book. We usually have to buy these massive large textbooks that we have to carry around in our backpack. We drag them to school with us, and most of the times when we go home after a long day of basically university or school, we end up learning absolutely nothing. We go home, we basically sit down in front of the TV, watch Netflix, and when the exam comes or when the test comes at the end of the month or at the end of the semester, most of us end up in a panic and we end up either failing the exam or basically not performing very well. So what on earth is happening here, and what techniques can we use in order for us to make exams easier and basically help us pass that exam that we really need to pass in order for us to improve our career life and also our own working situation? Well, basically most of the times when we are learning a subject, most of us tend to learn the subject in a very passive way. We either look at videos on YouTube, for example. If we're studying coding, most of us get a video like Free Code Camp and we just see the video on HTML, CSS and JavaScript and spend, 4 hours, 5 hours of our life basically just looking at video content and not really absorbing anything we are seeing. Some of us also basically, for example, when studying medicine, we tend to buy these really massive books like Grey's Anatomy or Guyton's Physiology, which has a sea of text and a sea of images and various anatomical pictures in the book, and at the end of the day we don't retain the information with regards to the anatomy. One particular topic I remember which I struggled with in medical school was that of neuroanatomy and the cranial nerves. When it came to remembering the cranial nerves, it was a pretty daunting task, and remembering also all the foramina of the human skull and also all the muscles, for example in the back, legs and in the arms and hands, I think was one of the most difficult periods when it came to studying in medical school. Anatomy technically sometimes is quite difficult to understand unless you're creative or unless you're artistic, and trying to remember what you are seeing is also pretty difficult. So one technique that was established by Cornell University and was developed by Walter Pock in the 1940s was that of the Cornell note-taking system. The Cornell note-taking system basically helps us understand the subject by making us summarize a subject, by making us summarize the subject into point form and also ask questions with regards to that subject. The Cornell note-taking system is a system which basically gets a sheet of paper, subdivides the sheet into 3 sections. In one section you have questions regarding the topic in question, another section which has a summarization of the topic where you summarize what you have just read, and another section you jot down informed or summarized notes of your understanding of the particular topic. Let's say you're studying, for example, coding, or you're studying Japanese at GLPT level and you're reading a chapter like grammar or a section on code like Python or React, and this technique basically tells us that the best way of understanding something is to jot down notes by hand on paper. We get a piece of paper, basically write points about the subject like being code, be it language, be it anatomy or physiology, and on the other side we basically write down questions related to the subject. One of the best ways I learned to study for exams was basically of using question banks or using books that have short answer questions, which are basically SAQ books. There are various SAQ books online on medicine. You can download them free as PDFs, and these topics range from anatomy, physiology, neuroanatomy, emergency medicine or clinical pharmacology. What I like about SAQs is that when you have a question related to a particular topic, the question itself is structured for you to make you think, or it makes you try to question what exactly you are reading about a particular topic. And the answer given for that particular question usually summarizes most of the particular topic you are researching or studying in that particular chapter. When it comes to, for example, neuroanatomy or neurology, most of the SAQs related to neurology, like for example stroke, a subarachnoid hemorrhage, or for example MS or ALS, it tends to give you a broad range of questions related to the subject, and from those questions you can eventually get summarized answers, which basically helps you build knowledge and also memorize in the process of doing so. This particular technique of basically questioning yourself and answering those questions by summarizing is known as active recall. Active recall is a well-documented technique which has been shown time and time again to not only help us learn a subject but also retain the information and memorize the information as long-term memory. One of the biggest problems when it comes to studying and retaining information is that most of us, as I said before, study information in a passive and not active manner, and when we do things in a passive manner, we are not using most of our cognitive abilities. And various studies have shown that students that highlight text or underline text or just read the text in a very passive way actually don't perform very well on exams compared to students who actively question themselves and actively get involved with the subject they are studying at that particular time. Another way of studying when it comes to, for example, languages or coding itself is that of getting your hands dirty. When I am studying a language, like for example Japanese, I went to Japan, and in Japan I was forced to use the language because I was there in the city of Tokyo or Osaka, and on a daily basis you're forced to use the language in daily conversation and in daily human interaction. Therefore, the daily forced use of the language, or the sort of getting your hands dirty way of practicing what you are studying, helps you not only ponder or question what exactly you are doing, but it also helps you to build up vocabulary and also retain that information. The same thing applies to coding. When it comes to coding, for example, I was studying PHP and Python. The best way I learned PHP and Python was actually to build projects. For example, for PHP, I built a login system and also I built a RESTful API. When it comes to, for example, PHP, the project itself, the login system and the API helped me not only understand the most important parts of PHP, like for example connecting to a database or linking an index page to my, for example, backend, and the implementation of various codes together like HTML and CSS, but it also helped me with the coding and also helped me to build up finger speed and the logic needed in order to write clean, concise code. This technique of getting your hands dirty and actively using what you are actively studying not only can be used for medicine, coding or language learning, but it can be employed in other subjects, in other areas, and it can help us better understand the subject we are learning than just sitting down there passively and basically absorbing information. I hope the information was interesting, guys. I hope this video gave you some insight on how to study and how to study better for exams. If you have any other questions, please comment down in the section below. Thanks for watching the video and see you next time.